Hello, and welcome to the Inwards and Upwards show, where you go inwards and you move upwards or outwards, whichever way you want to go. But you actually start to heal yourself from inside, which is like a holistic transformational journey, which we're all going on in this group that we've got here today. And other people are doing it as well. And I had the pleasure of being on the show with Laura's show, and so I thought, well, why not come and have a conversation with her, and we'll talk about what Laura's up to in her life in America and how she got into her particular journey. So welcome, Laura. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Peter, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Our pleasure. We always try to accommodate good people here. So you run White Sands, right? So just what got you into that in the first place? What got you into doing what you're doing at the moment?
Well, I'm a military veteran, blue collar worker turned entrepreneur. I lost my husband 18 years ago when he was 36. We had lunch at noon and he was dead by 10 o'clock that night. So I got smacked in the face with reality really quick. At that time, I learned life was way too short to be answering to somebody else. And I went into travel first, and I'm still a certified travel agent. So White Sands, Premier Travel, everything with me is White Sands. And then, as we all know, COVID hit the world and scared everybody silly from traveling. But I realized the reason I wanted people to travel in the first place was to get out of that rat race, escape the whole everyday hum and drum, and go do something different and take care of themselves. We just get too much into that grind and we keep going. So I created White Sands Self-Care LLC. So that's how I created that, and it focuses all on holistic health and well-being. There's natural ways, and I have learned that we need to treat the body as a whole and not just keep putting band-aids on it. There's other answers than, what we get thrown at us. And I wanted to make sure that I was building a community that provides the education, the resources, connection, and collaboration, which is how you and I met. So that people know that there's help out there. I believe we can resonate more when you actually get to meet someone and talk with someone and hear where they're from, so you'll know that they can actually relate to you and maybe be able to help you get where you want to get.
So that's like connecting more with humanity, the humanity side of them, rather than the stressed and anxious side that we seem to be seeing so much of at the moment, so much anger in the world, so much sort of bitterness and hatred even. I think you could even go to that length. So that's amazing. So when did you start the White Sands TV show? You started that yet?
From White Sands Self-Care, I created Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross TV show. It is an online TV show. And again, it's all about providing that education and resources, the whole connection, which is how I've met with people all over the world. I love finding like-minded people that we can relate to and get that message out. And so I just launched the first episode on July 24th of this year, because I was doing short interviews, which you and I will be doing tomorrow morning in my White Sands Self-Care community group. But I wanted to take it to the next level. I wanted to be able to reach as many people as possible. I know we're not going to be able to fix everybody, but I figure if we can even help just one person, then we're doing good. I like judgment-free safe zones where people know that they're safe there. They're not judged. We're individuals for a reason. So I bring in different people, different perspectives, different things, and all realms of self-care and about being mindful. Because one thing I've learned in my journey from losing my husband is that, for one, you can't help people unless they are wanting to be helped or they're looking for a change. You can't just go in and fix them. As much as you may want to wave that wand and fix them because you don't want to lose anybody else, it doesn't work that way. So providing a platform where people can speak and know that there's others out there, that there's help for them. And wherever they're at in their journey, we're all in a different place.
Yeah, we certainly definitely are in a different place. I learned that going through my Ki Gong courses of like just moving up and moving along and changing. As you're changing inside, you do need that support of people being around you, because there was times when I just felt like I was losing my mind. You literally are losing your mind because you're going through this conditioning that you've been through, and you think, wow, where's that gone? You felt like you lose a part of yourself, which is what you're talking about as well. Yeah. So that's amazing. What kind of guests have you had on there then? Apart from me, obviously.
Well, I've had you on there, which people have not seen yet. Your episode airs this Monday. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Yeah, I love meeting all these people. I've had guests from energy healing, scalar light, the new era of quantum healing, vibe, which is electromagnetic healing, people that do different realms of physical fitness or physical strength trainers. One of my most recent ones, and her name is Joy, and she's truly a joy to talk to. She has a whole Be the Difference LLC clothing line, where she's putting positive sayings and things on clothing, because we're always reading people's clothes or their hats or whatever they go by, and she didn't want to just sit back and do nothing. And so it just brings a whole different realm of positive people and different things that you can do to help elevate yourself, and help you feel better. So all different realms. We'll be covering financial. I mean, it covers everything, because if you're stressed about finances, you're still damaging yourself. There's professional, there's physical. And so we did get started. So I haven't gotten into all the different realms yet. I'm just kind of taking people as they come in. But people, I had Delia from the UK on. She's the author of You Can Be Happy Again. So, that's about someone that has been not only suffered infidelity, but, and betrayal and loss. But, she wrote the book to say you can be happy again. And her platform is to reach and help over 10,000 women, So
Amazing.
It's a platform to get all that out there and to let people know who you are and how you can help them.
So you must be a people person deep down inside, loving humanity. You must be a people person to actually accommodate all these wonderful things that you're doing with all these wonderful people who are trying to get out there. What really deep down inspired you to do that? That's to me, that would give me goosebumps. You do, honestly, to actually amalgamate all of this together into a platform and then put it out there from the power of your heart. What really did inspire you to do this? What deep down?
Well, I've always been a very heart-centered person. I've always put everybody first before myself. That's always just been my nature. I've been that way, but I just find it funny that you say that, because I even have a mat on my door that says, dogs welcome, people tolerated. I wasn't been a dog person. When I was younger, I worked jobs where I was like, you couldn't pay me enough to deal with the public, didn't want to. When I lost my husband, it changed my perspective on a lot of things. And as I've grown, I mean, I used to be really kind of not very patient, for people that are elderly, or I tend to be critical and stuff. But then I just realized, for one, there's no need for that. There's no need for judgment. And when you start doing the inner work and you figure out yourself and ways to improve, it gives you a whole different view on things. And I started going with network, I started out in network companies and then to groups and talking to people, and yeah, lo and behold, I am quite the people person.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. I actually really enjoy it. I have met so many neat people from around the world. I truly love it, from all over. It's all different perspectives. I think if you stop learning, you stop growing.
Yeah.
And I believe you should be open-minded.
Yeah.
Your way is not always the right way. There may be another way. You can agree to disagree, but that doesn't mean we have to keep getting nasty or coming to blows. You're entitled. It's your life. It's your choice.
Yeah, it's very true. So this observer mode rather than judgment mode, because I think we're all really conditioned to be judgmental in this world. Like, oh my goodness me, look at them over there. And we're conditioned to look at celebrities in certain ways, going, oh, we're not worthy, they're so big up there in their big houses and they're making so much money. So we get kind of conditioned into this not worthy sort of feeling and judgmental and looking at other people because we're looking at them up there, then we tend to look down. When did that observational consciousness first strike you to make you realize, I'm just observing this, I'm not actually judging this whatsoever? When was that? Can you remember the first time when you actually felt that?
Well, I still catch myself every now and then. I'm not going to,
Yeah,
I'm not
nobody's
perfect.
perfect. No.
I will tell people I ditched perfectionist. I'm perfectly imperfect, and I'm good with that.
Good.
I was invited to join a large group that was out of Denver, Colorado, when I was still living in Colorado. And I was at first like, oh my God, I'm going to see these people that are like 6-7 figure people. And who am I? I'm the one that put them on the pedestal. They didn't.
Mm.
And then to realize that all I had to do was be myself. They accepted me for who I am, and they were happy to help and mentor me or whatever. And one of them even told me, he's like, don't put me on a pedestal. He said, it hurts when I fall. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like they don't, when the people are truly helping and they want to mentor you, they're not up there. They're no different than you. They don't see themselves any different from yourself. The only people putting them there is us. Now, if you do come across the ones that think their stuff don't stink, well, all right, then we're just not a good fit. I'm not saying they're not out there, but we're just as good as the next person. We all have something of value to give. And it took me a long time to realize that, because I always put myself in the shadows. I always followed, I always did this. And then when someone started pointing it out, I started realizing I had people that were following me. And then I had people telling me that they loved what I do. Can I do this? Can I be on this? Well, okay. I was never big about being seen and being talked. And if you've seen my YouTube shorts, you can see sometimes it still looks painful because it's really odd to sit there and look at yourself on a screen and do that. But it needs to be done to promote the things. And I stopped worrying about it being perfect. I figure people are going to grow with me. It makes me authentic. It makes me real. If I mess up, well, okay, then I've messed up. Moving on.
Yeah, and that when was the first video then you let go of your perfection? Because I'll just back that up, because as a musician, when I was learning production, and Jan will verify this, I used to be such a perfectionist. I wanted every note to be perfect, every beat in the right place, every vocal to be in tune, every harmony to be perfect. And it was dead as a doornail. You play the track and it's like, and then as soon as I started to release that a little bit, mainly when I was writing Anna Harter, stepping up a little bit, but I've left lots of mistakes in stepping up. But Anna Harter is when I just thought, what the heck, just leave it, let it be, let it roll. And that's when I actually got signed by a record label because of the album, because I let it go. So when was the first video that you actually just let that go? Because it's so liberating when you think, yeah, there's a few ums and ahs, and there's a few, did I really say that? Let it go. Just what was that first video?
I've gotten to the point where it's not 100 takes. I'm down to maybe 6 or 7. And then I'm like, all right, screw it. It's out there. It got the information out. For one, you are looking at someone that avoided speech class. And if you got up in front of class, I'd be shaking so badly, or the whole room would go black. I'd bomb them all the time. Didn't like being up in front of people.
Yeah.
It took little steps over time. Like when I joined networking groups, I used to, even 30 seconds, I'd be shaking so bad I couldn't even pick up anything. And then I started telling myself, it's like, you know what? No one out here knows that I don't like to get up in front of people and speak.
Yeah.
So I had to start learning to do it, hide certain things. And after a while, it got easier. And I used to do Travel Talk Wednesdays and give people tips about that. I had everything planned out that I wanted to see. And if something didn't go right, I used to be so mad. I forgot this. I forgot that. Well, that's it. Well, I went live with them. So it wasn't pre-recorded. It's already out there. It's done. But then I started watching other speakers and other business people that I was in. I'm like, if you listen to them, they're not always perfect. Some of them will just laugh at their mistakes and you roll on, or you don't point them out and you keep going. So I finally learned to stop doing that. There's always going to be someone that's going to judge you, but it takes a lot to get up in front of people and talk, or to put yourself out there. So I focus on the ones that appreciate it, and the fact that I got up and did it. I don't know if there's exactly one video that did it. You'll see some of it, and I'm just like, okay, I roll with it. I still have that little thing that says, maybe you should have redone that. But it's like, you know what? Too late. Uploaded it. It's done. And it just gets easier as it goes.
Yeah, but it's that initial, actually, like you say, putting yourself out there, getting out of your comfort zone. I was the same when I was younger. I couldn't speak to more than two people in the room. I was that shy. I was horrendously shy. Now it doesn't bother me any of that. It's just knowing. Actually, I think it's about the confidence, about knowing what you're talking about, and then just doing it rather than thinking, well, there's loads of people in front of you. But it's so true what you're saying about human beings, because the ones who do want to put themselves up on pedestals are very lonely. They're very miserable, and they're usually judgmental, and they'll sit and they'll try to make themselves bigger than you by being judgmental. And I've met many of them in the music business. But then there's the real stars who I've met, some really big stars, and you go, you are just such a wonderful human being. And I've met quite a few of them. I think Thin Lizzy was the biggest group of people. But we used to do the Irish night in London, the big St. Patrick's night, as a bass player in a band doing that. And we met some wonderful stars. And there's one time I was watching the Dubliners, and they were quite funny because they were ancient, but they were being literally from the bar picked up on their chairs and then plonked on the stage, still with their Guinness in their hands. But there was an Irish. He was a big star at the time. I didn't even recognize him. But he was a big star at the time. He just came and walked up and started chatting with me, asking me what I was up to. I was saying, well, I'm releasing a singer-songwriter album. And he's going, oh, best of luck with that. And I didn't realize he'd been in Ireland for about 10 weeks at #1. And he was just so full of humility, such a wonderful man, and just really interested in what I was doing rather than talking about himself. And I just thought, there you go, there's authenticity for you. So in a world that seems to be becoming more AI, more plastic, more perfection, how important do you feel authenticity is as a human being?
I think it's extremely important. I mean, who wants to go around and keep putting on some kind of fake facade? I mean, that's just a lot of pressure and stuff that you don't need. To me, that's not truly living. When you can be authentically yourself, you can enjoy who you are, what you're doing, you can enjoy life, you can enjoy things more. It's
I think
to me, it's everything. I don't want somebody to fake. I wouldn't trust somebody that's fake or putting that on. You're always kind of wondering what they're up to or what's behind them.
Yes.
I like people that are honest. If you make a mistake, even like doing my show, I've had people that's like, oh, well, what's your analytics? Well, we did just get our analytics yesterday, but I didn't have any. I can tell you what E360 TV's analytics are, but not my show because it was new and I hadn't had them yet. So I'm not going to lie to them and tell them. And if they're not comfortable with doing that, or they want something with more bigger numbers, well, then great, circle back around another time. But, when you don't attach yourself to the outcome, you get more. And I learned that from one of my, business partners. It's one of the things I think that makes us come across false or pushy. I call it a used car salesman, because we're so worried about that outcome. I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I'm good doing it. And who sees it was meant to see it, and we're going to go.
Wonderful, actually. Yeah, because that's in our Ki Gong teachings, the Tao philosophy is saying, don't focus on the outcome, focus on what you're doing. Never look for recognition while you're doing it. Just focus on what you're doing, because the recognition will come if what you've done is worthy. And then don't judge whether it's worthy or not because you haven't got recognition. You don't do it for that. You do it because actually you enjoy doing what you're doing. And that really does shine through with a lot of people on the internet. But also I see a lot of people who just go, no, I'm not dealing with that. You're small fish or whatever. Or, wow, look at them. They're such a big fish. And they'll clamber and exhaust themselves trying to get on their program, their podcast or their channel. And to me, that loses everything, because it shouldn't be like that at all. It should be really authentic. Everybody needs to be authentic. It's that saying, if everybody wants to hang out at the finish line, but nobody wants to run the race anymore. Right. And it's that race where you learn everything. You learn everything when you're running that race and you're trying to get to the finish line. When you get to the finish line, how much have you learned by running that race? Everything. Everybody at the finish line, it's like the Hunger Games sort of scenario of everybody going blah 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 blah. We're all so wonderful and this and that, and you think, No, you haven't run the race at all. I think to me that's so important for all of us to actually run the race, to live our lives as authentic as you possibly can. So
Yeah.
what,
And not to be afraid to fail. I mean, to me, are you really failing, or are you just learning a lesson to how to be better?
yes,
I
yes.
don't look at it as a failure. It's a lesson learned.
So when did you develop this mindset? Was it the military training, do you think? Because I went through public school, which was one of the strictest. It was a really strict one, and it was literally like boot camp. It was like you get up in the morning, and because we were one of the best rugby schools in the country, so the training we went through made me survive my 70 made me survive my 20s because of the drinking I was doing as going into the music business. The fitness that I had when I was 15, 16, 17, 18 was literally keeping me going. And so where did that discipline come from you? Do you think it was your military background, or?
Um, Discipline would come probably from military or my upbringing, but not in necessarily the whole, open mind and observing things. Military 15 minutes, or 15 minutes early, you're on time. Anything else is late. So yes, so I was like, sitting on the Zoom 15 minutes, I'm waiting for it to be.
Yeah.
But when it comes to doing this, you understand other people have a life. It's not the end of the world if they got on a minute or 2 minutes late. So I used to be like, God, where they, get nervous because I'm going live. I tell people I'm going to go live at 11. Well, then I want to go live at 11. And I realized it's like, you know what? Things happen between internet or something, or maybe they got out of a meeting late, whatever. I've learned to just go with the flow. It makes life so much nicer. So yeah, military doesn't necessarily teach you to go with the flow. They tell you how to, to jump so high, you jump that high. It's a more of a
Okay.
you do what you're told. It's not really a go with the flow, and what happens happens.
But it give you like a good grounding, I would have thought, to actually get things done in that respect. But I agree with you. I broke away completely from the conditioning, but kept the discipline element of it, i.e., I want to get this done. I need to get this done, so I need to do it because nobody else is going to do it. If you start to branch out on your own, nobody's going to do it. You can't give it off to somebody else. You have to do it. So you have to have that mindset of jumping in and actually doing it for yourself. So, yeah, I mean, I think the conditioning of the schooling system in this country is abominable because we've got mainly all our politicians have come out of this schooling system that I went to, and I know exactly what they're like, and I realize we're in serious trouble with our political class because they've got no idea whatsoever how people live in this country, and that's a real issue for me. But we can turn that around by actually bringing community together and actually coming together, which is what I think you're doing is amazing, because we need to be reaching out to more people and actually starting to bring community in and start talking like this and saying, hey, we're here to help. We're here to make things better. So have you got any, what other people you got coming on the show? Have you got any people lined up?
Like I do have a few of them coming up. I'm trying to, actually the show right now is booked out to the middle of December. So
And that's once a week, right? That's once a week.
Every Monday. Every
Wow.
Monday. Yeah.
So
Every
you've got a
Monday,
lot.
even the live interviews, the 15-minute free live interview that I do through my group, that's booked out to the middle of December right now.
So you're busy.
So yeah. But I've met a lot of wonderful people. Some of them have sent me their books to read, so I can have some. So one I'm going to be talking to soon that's going to be coming up wrote a book about why we feel the way we do. And there's another one that's actually specializes in rape counseling and wrote a book to the survivors, for all different modes, because apparently there's jokes about that going on around in the school. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, wow.
Jokes about rape. Jokes about rape.
Yep. And I'm like, yeah, no. but it just kind of amazes me that the different things and stuff that are out there. And I love coming across all the different people that do different things. Almost all of these people have gone through some kind of struggle. No one woke up and said, oh, hey, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. We've all been through something. It's how you push through and how you do things. You talk about the discipline. Yes, it helps me to get things done, but I've also learned that not to beat myself up if I didn't get all those things done today. I call it celebrating your wins. Celebrate what you did get done, because besides ourselves, we got plenty of people out there that'll beat us up. So, just celebrate your wins and be happy with what you did. Everything else will be done later.
Yeah.
If I really want to push myself to do something that I know I'm not really amped up to do, I'll tell someone I'll have it done by a certain time. And guess what? I'm going to have it done because I told somebody I would.
Yeah.
And that's what motivates me. That doesn't motivate everybody, but it's something that motivates me.
But I think it's that deciding when your energy is right to do something. And I think that's okay as well. That's different to procrastinating. Procrastinating is putting something off because you're fearful of something, i.e. you might be fearful of the outcome, or nobody's going to watch it, nobody's going to listen to it, nobody's going to do anything with it. Whereas actually waiting until your energy is right is the right thing to do, to go, okay, bang, because that's what I do now is wait till I'm in the right place, and then I'll go bang, 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 and shoot out 6, 7, 8 videos, and they're all reasonably good. I've got it down to one take now, which is fantastic. But you should see some of the one take wonders I've done 6 months ago. You go, oh God. waffle. Now it's like more to the point. I'm here. I'm a coach. I'm here to help. I want to help. I'm a Ki Gong instructor. This is what I do with the Ki Gong. If you're around and it resonates with you, this is it. If not, that's great. Okay, that's fine as well, because I think we've all got to find our way through this crazy world it's called the Kali Yuga. We're at the bottom end, the Iron Age of the human cycle at the moment, and we're actually moving into a golden age, which is why we're seeing all of this corruption coming up, all of the turmoil and troubles. And actually, if you start to focus more on yourself, you actually start to see there's a way out of this. Whereas it says this is very extraordinary Kali Yuga, which is, there's a difference to this one, which means there's not just hope, but if you take action on that hope, it will work for you. And that's what we're experiencing now as a planet. We're actually experiencing a real shift, which is why you said about seeing people joking about rape. Rape is the most horrendous thing you could ever have happen to you, male or female, doesn't matter. And we had Madeline Black on this show before, who wrote a fantastic book about her gang rape when she was really young, and the trouble she went through that, and all the stigma that she went through that, to actually start to feel I've got something to offer this world. And she's really had an enormous spiritual awakening in herself to say, I'm here to do something because of what happened to me. So I need to find out what she's doing. And she wrote the book Unbroken, and now she goes out speaking around the UK. And actually, I met her when I was doing Ki Gong in the Maldives. We had an international women's economic empowerment meeting over there. It's like a non-governmental organization. And I met her there speaking about rape then. And I was like, at first, it's shocking to think, oh, you poor thing. But then you realize, look how she's come through that. And I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? That when you come through something that you've been through and you can share it with others really honestly and authentically, that's so helpful to other people, don't you think?
I do. I that's one of the things I truly love about all these people that I've met, because they have found the strength to write about. And I have a lot of book authors that have been contacting me, about stuff that they've put out, and it's put out to help, but it takes a lot to not only admit to people and maybe to yourself what happened to you and what it did or what it held you back, but you've come through it and you've learned how to come through it. And I think we need more people to be out there and to be able to share those kind of things. It takes a lot to be vulnerable and do that. But there are so many people, I think, out there that are probably suffering in silence because they're afraid of being judged or afraid of this. But if they hear this, then they know that's someone out there that can relate to them. I believe in staying in your lane. It's, I can relate to people that have, lost a spouse or was in the military or blue collar entrepreneur. So I stay with my lane working with solopreneurs. I'm not the one to do the deep dive and the brain work. I am learning about, the chakras and energy healing from all different people, but it's not for me to try and help somebody through that, which is why I love building this community, because I have people I can say, I have someone that might be able to help you. Let's connect,
Yeah,
know that there's those resources out there.
Yeah, because I think you've got your, we call it lower dungeon. Your lower dungeon seems to be pretty strong to me. It's like you've done this with your triangle, your light ahead, and that's, you're flipping the triangle. That's you doing what you need to do to get you to the place where you need to be. And that's how it is. I think when we don't give ourselves credit for where we're actually at, then I think that's not right, because I think we should be really giving ourselves a big tap on the back for actually getting through these traumatic experiences. Because you look at the world out there at the moment, and I saw a video of a little Italian island that's been flooded with African immigrants, and there's like 500 or 600 of these young men acting like football hooligans in this beautiful little town, in this beautiful little Italian island, where the locals are all slightly aging, it looks like, and they can't do anything about it. They've got this whole, now the center of their town completely being wrecked. And you look at that and you go, wow, this world is really, in some ways it's imploding, but in other ways is where you actually turning around and saying, I've had enough of this. And that's what happens inside of you when you've gone through that turmoil and that sadness of grief. I understand grief because I lost my parents very young, and we've just lost our little cat Jimmy, and I miss him still tremendously. So I understand grief and the energy not being there anymore. But it's that feeling of saying, like you said, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I'm going to get on and do something about it, is actually the strength that we all have inside of us. And sometimes you just need a little bit of nurturing to pop you up and get you out there and out into the world again. So I think what you're doing is amazing, and actually gathering people of all different types of healing modalities is also amazing. So you haven't really done much work on the chakras or the meridians or anything like that. You're not.
So I have the book. I started learning about them, and I have like frequency programs that kind of show me where it is. I'm still learning to understand that. But once I decided to launch the TV show, my schedule got kind of crazy, and I'm like, okay, I do practice my self-care. So I had to taper it back, no more than this meetings in there, because otherwise I'm throwing my own self-care out the window. And I do practice what I preach. So I had to dial it back. So it's part of my me time, my me time, my self-care time from 7 to 10 in the morning, where I'm either reading books or I'm doing, my exercises, whatever I need to do to get me ready for the day.
I was having a conversation today with somebody who's actually involved with another platform, and she's working 28 hours a week on it as an employee. She's being employed by the platform. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? I said, well, yeah, good. I said, well, you make enough money? Yeah. Well, I'm good. Everything's good. I said, but 28 hours a week is enough. You don't have to work any more than that. It's because we've been conditioned to think, got to get 40 hours in, got to get 40 hours in. You don't. As long as you've got enough coming in and you're happy with the amount of work that you're doing. In fact, if you have 28 more concentrated hours in a week, you would be more productive than just stringing it out to 40 hours. It was Henry Ford. Did you know that? Henry Ford came up with a 40-hour week. And it was to keep people tired enough so that they couldn't think about how badly they were being screwed, and so you were on the work, but it not quite enough for them to be too tired to be productive. So it was like the perfect level of time for people to be working at. It's really up to you how much you work and how little you work, because I think we are human beings. I think we need to be beings, like you say. You need to care about yourself and just be. Maybe if you're reading or learning or actually expanding your mind, that you can do forever. in a day. It's that energy. It's like when you, well, in my Ki Gong class, I talk about focus on a joyful moment, put it in your heart, and then place it up into your brain. When you've got that joyful moment going through you all the time, you will have abundant energy. When you've got this, oh, I've got to do this. Oh God, I've got to do that. Oh God, I've got to do this. You don't have much energy because it's not joyful. It's like a friction inside of you. So for me personally, it has to be joyful energy towards washing the dishes.
Yeah. And I used to do that. A lot of times people call it chasing the shiny objects, especially when I joined this business group. Oh, I had this opportunity, that opportunity, and I got this. Yes, I do run multiple businesses, but they take care of themselves, and it's all to help support people in self-care. It's not something I spend every waking moment in. It's like a tool in my toolbox, and I've learned how to do that. And I've met other people that they just don't know what they would do if they're not doing this, and that. And they're still squeezing in what they say is their self-care time. And they say they're happy that way. Well, okay. I'm happy for you. I'm not one to tell you that, it's not right for you. That's, happens to be a highly functioning individual.
Yeah.
I said, I can't function that way. And I've seen people take on this after this after this, but then they're not giving the same quality to their clients that they already have because they've stretched themselves too thin, and you go off to too many things. So it's kind of like you tell people you got to slow down to go faster or to move ahead, or, it sounds crazy, but we weren't made to multitask. I used to say I was great at multitasking, but the truth is you really don't. Your brain is constantly switching from one thing to another. So you're really not putting your full focus in that.
Yeah.
So if you can just focus on one thing, you get it done. And then if you're not getting anywhere, get up and walk away, even if it's just for a few minutes, because if you get your brain thinking on something else, guess what snaps up into your head?
Yeah.
Whatever you were banging your head on, it'll come to you faster than if you just keep saying, why am I not getting this? There's all different methods and stuff. Everybody, I tell people there's no right or wrong. You have to do, what makes you happy. But when you're doing that and you think that you're happy, or you get frustrated because your family's frustrated with you because you're there, but you're not fully present. You're busy wondering about what you should be doing at work the next day, or you're answering the phone. You're not fully present with your family. So yeah, they are going to still get frustrated with you, even though you're working hard to support them and to be there with them, but you're not really truly with them.
Yeah, that's very true. And we've always said also about people who are addicted to their work is I've heard people say to me, oh, I'm having to take 2 weeks holiday and I'm really not sure what I'm going to do with myself. And I want to say, give it to me. I'll do something. Give it to me, and I'll just do nothing. I'll be so happy. I'll just chill and just potter around, do little things, bits and pieces. But I'm very artistic. I find artistic people tend to need to sort of chill back a bit to be able to produce some of the things that we create. But I think that's the same with everybody. Wouldn't you say the same with everybody needs to drop back and just go, oh, okay, I'm going to get on with it. Wouldn't you think that's the best way of being, which is what you've been saying? It's definitely the best way to be, right?
I think it's better, even if it's just a few minutes. You talk about those people that are like, or they don't know what to do with 2 weeks vacation. Well, I've known people that have to plan out everything in their vacation. Oh, they got to do this, got to do that. And then if something happened to this tour, they're like all discombobulated. I'm like, okay, now you need a vacation from your vacation because you've just planned it to death. I'm like, you're missing the idea of a vacation.
Yeah.
I've even met some people now that do retreats that say, you know what? There are no cell phones, no laptops, you leave all your electronic devices home for a weekend. And some people won't do the retreat because of that. And other people that do that have found it quite refreshing, because it's just like, you know what? The world didn't fall apart.
Yeah.
Everything that was there before I left is still there. It's not like it's going away, but you had time to unplug and just regroup.
I've heard people get really distressed when the phone signals go down and the phone stop working. They get really distressed. I just think, oh, great. just leave it, but they get really upset. It's like almost losing a limb. And I just thinking we're becoming so addictive to our technology. We should love ourselves and use our technology, but what we're doing, we're using our body and loving our technology. It's the wrong way round. It's the wrong way round. We've got it. And I think that needs to change. How do people get hold of you if they want to get hold of you? You said about White Sand. So
yeah, you can go to whitesandselfcare.com is my website. And you can either book a call with me there. You can connect with me on Facebook. I'm easy to find on there, either, Laura Cross, or you can look for the White Sand Self-Care Community Group or the Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. I have that page too. So I'm pretty much all over. If you look for White Sands or Mindful Mondays, and I do have the YouTube channel, so Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. So if you want to catch Peter's upcoming episode and other guests that I've had, or if you'd like to share something, you want to be a guest, I would love to talk to you, and let's get you out there.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop recording now, and then we'll just open it up to the members. Okay. Here we go. Hang on a sec.